Hello. Today we are going to be discussing some elements of music, and I would like you all to please follow along with the slides, and let's get going. Firstly, we have on our first slide is what is a staff? And in layman's terms, a staff is a graphical system used to read and write music and different notes. There are essentially 7 different letters in the musical alphabet, those letters being A through G, and they simply just repeat at various pitches, meaning either higher or lower. Excuse me. In terms of the treble clef staff, as we can see down here, it is made up of 5 lines and 4 spaces. And some of the instruments that read the treble clef staff are the violin, flute, trumpet, and saxophone. Next, we have the lines of the treble clef staff. Every staff has 5 lines and 4 spaces. And the higher the note is placed on the staff, the higher the note, and the lower the note on the staff, the lower the pitch. So starting at the bottom of the treble clef staff, the bottom line is what is known as the note E, and from there, line 2 is G, line 3 is B, line 4 is D, and line 5 is the note F. And this clef is also known as the G clef. The reason being is because the way this treble clef is drawn, the ending part of the clef wraps around that second line, which would illustrate it being also known as the G clef. We also have spaces, of course. There are 4 spaces. And in the treble clef staff, it's pretty easy to remember those 4 spaces because it literally spells out the word face, F-A-C-E. Starting from the bottom space and working your way up would spell face. And as the saying goes, face rhymes with space. So along with the treble clef, there's also a bass clef staff. And just like the treble clef, it's made up of 5 lines and 4 spaces. And this clef is used a lot for the lower pitched instruments, such as the trombone, the tuba, the bass, and the bassoon. Starting from the bottom, the lines are represented by the letters G, B, D, F, and A. And the fun saying that is used to help us remember those letters is, good boys do fine always. And again, the first letter of the words is what tells us what the actual line, what the note is. So obviously G for good, B for boy, etc., etc. Now for the spaces. Starting from the bottom, the spaces are A, C, E, G, and the saying that is learned to help remember that is all cows eat grass. Now along with flats and sharps, there are also, along with different clefs, there are also flats and sharps. Notes that are sharp or flat are called accidental notes, and they help composers give some variety to music. Nearly all instruments can play accidentals. On the piano, for example, sharp and flat notes are the black keys. So if you can visualize a piano, the black keys are the notes that are considered the accidental notes, the sharps and the flats, as opposed to the white keys, which are your regular notes, aka our natural notes. And those would be your A through G in our, the musical alphabet. Going a little bit more in depth on those different types of notes, starting with the sharp notes. Essentially, a sharp looks like a hashtag or a tic-tac-toe board, and what a sharp simply does is it raises the pitch. So if a note is going to be played sharp, the note will be higher than if it was not sharp. And now the other perspective, we have flat notes, and a flat looks like a lowercase b, for lack of a better explanation. And just like how it sounds, if a note is going to be flat, it's going to be a bit lower. I like to think about a flat tire. If your tire is flat, then it's going to be lower than if it wasn't flat. And lastly, along with flats and sharps, we also have natural signs. Now the natural sign, I'm not going to attempt to explain what it looks like. You can see on the slide here. So use your own imagination. And essentially the natural sign cancels out any sort of sharp or flat that was being used. So if a sharp is written next to a note, and then that note now has a natural symbol, then the sharp or flat gets canceled out. So I know that was a lot in a short amount of time. I appreciate you listening and watching, and have a great day. Thank you.